parallel here. I want to go ahead and establish a strong parallel here, because when you talk about Trump and what he's doing with this Bible thing, yeah, when you have a leader who's losing confidence of his people and his mind control, charismatic mind control is not working, his police state's not working, he's got to resort to religion to get those hardcore white Christian MAGA followers, conservative Christian. Whoa, yeah, of course, he's just using up every card he's got in his deck.
Yeah, but that's a dangerous thing. Look at the past. When people do that stuff, look what happens.
Some 2 cents. If what happens if the Confederates won the American Civil War? So it was the Civil War between North and South, right?
Yeah.
If the Confederate won the war, it would be like the Vietnam War, where the North Vietnamese won.
Yeah, but what if they picked up and kept up on our way of looking and thinking?
Yeah, that was way more than 2 cents, buddy.
You have to wait.
America would be a communist country right now.
Yeah.
What you say? Commies?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm thinking. Because you had each of them things going to the other direction, and anyone else. Look how the U.S. is now. You go and start talking about you attacking their neighbors and all that. The UN is. Why is it that when country does it, that other places are ready to go and get mad about it? If you're part of the UN, it's a thing that I don't want to hear how one, like everyone has the right to be here. The religion, it's a bad thing. I'm referring to where
I've never criticized any individual of a religion. I can comment and criticize a religion.
I'm referring to
I can also criticize a political
a little bit of both.
Concept. I can criticize an ideology.
Yeah, but it makes me a little worried when people take it.
Right to criticize an ideology. May that be religious, may that be political, may that be any other ideology.
Yeah, but when it goes beyond a little bit of country, but when they go and wants to do the thing like the church used to do about go out and I can't think of that, where they was fight under God's name, and innocent people getting killed from some preacher wants to send people off to do what he wants done. It's a thing that I get a little irritated. I get scared about.
People, it's not the same as criticizing, being critical of a thing. You can. Sure, there is a line between being critical and then causing violence. You can all be critical of things, but not expecting just because you're critical of something, you're going to go out and start.
Well, I'm referring to what people with what the right hand knows and what the left hand knows. That's a dangerous thing. And with church, for what they say in the past and all that, it's hard to say if it's true. But when people get high in power and all that, as they say, power corrupts. And stupidity runs supreme.
Well,
You're talking about my stupidity.
Bible readings, and it sends all the wrong messages. It just shows somebody who's desperate to indoctrinate or to enforce indoctrination on the last bit of people that are supporting
Let me explain something
just to solidify some sort of standing.
You gotta be careful about the word stupidity when it comes to the people I hang out with, because I hang out with a lot of stupid people. Just be careful.
Stop hanging out with stupid people. Don't do that.
But on the opposite side, the monarch of Great Britain and Northern Ireland is head of the Anglican Church. The head of the Vatican State is the Pope, the head of the Catholic Church, and they've got responsibilities to uphold their faiths. They represent the
Well, see, I think a lot of that is actually that's actually meant though.
He's the head of the representative church.
Well, like with Ireland, I really don't.
The thing about democracy, you're not supposed to have some representative of God in the presidency. You're supposed to have a cool dude that's voted by the people. Okay, so I know there's parallel there, but yeah, that's the whole point of our government, our democracy. We want to take church out of state, you know. So, but then again, Trump beefing with the Pope, he polarizes himself because he's essentially now dumb. And I think that's another reason why he wants to do this whole Bible reading thing, to show that the world that he's talking first in the flame is somebody reading the Bible first.
Another argument of that is that the Pope is the head of the Vatican City, therefore the Vatican State, a UN recognized country, and so he's a political leader as well. It is for the president to communicate with other political leaders.
Yeah,
that's fine, but having a rifle and a beef, that's then they're tearing each other down. That's kind of defeats, the whole exchange.
Treat one better than the other.
States are supposed to be working together.
Yeah.
And if you're beefing, then I mean, you literally have to define yourself even more when you come in contrast with someone else.
Yeah, especially.
Yeah, I don't know why Trump would put himself up against the Pope. I mean,
the ego.
So the Pope, apart from being a leader of the Vatican State, he's the spiritual leader of billions of Catholics and or Christians. And when he's looking over things that are happening in the world, and he offers his proposes his view and opinion on how things should be done. The president could choose to listen to it or not. So
even if the view may be contradictory to the premise of the doctrine of the church.
Well, no, I don't think possible. I don't think that's your theory, and I know you sent me a clip that makes that claim, but I don't think the Pope's being contradictory to the teaching of the church.
No, because that's where it comes. He tried to cover up the sexual thing about the children.
I mean, this is like, it's the same thing that goes on to families or fraternal corrections within the family, right? You see a brethren doing something wrong, you tell them that this is not how you should be doing things, and you should be, making some correction on the way you're proceeding with things. The brother could choose to listen to it or not, and if he doesn't listen to it, and he end up creating disaster for himself, that's his own, it's his own free will, and he's free to do that. But he's been warned, right?
That's his stand and no one else's.
Yeah, but
I mean, if he was turned out to be pretty dumb, or ended up looking pretty dumb, if there was the advice given, he ended up not taking it, and the result was disastrous, right?
Yeah.
So there's that to wait. There's people all around him advising him on what could be the good moral way to approach thing, and if he rejects it and go about his own thing, then that's his own, that's gonna be his legacy.
And I love the fact that he's also being manipulated. He wants to use this ploy to manipulate people, but he's also being manipulated because he only understands language of money, and these are where people are going to buy his $3 Bibles with his signature on it. You know what I mean? And I think
is he selling Bibles now?
All people got to. There's such a hatred. There's such a dislike for Donald Trump in the US at this present moment. All people are taking a stance buying Bibles because his name signature with it.
Yeah, but he does a lot of stupid things on both sides. Not all bad, not all good. But when he goes and tries to do something good, he doesn't try to make it out. He doesn't explain it more in detail. Like what's happened over there in Iraq.
Not the best communicator. That's evident.
Now, when it comes to this Bible quoting thing,
yeah.
now that's where
reading. How did the president of the United States start?
Now the thing that they're arguing about is this list of participants that are involved in it. They're saying is overwhelmingly includes Republican politicians and Christian supporters of Trump, and it shows that it shows it to be very much a right-wing MAGA Christian nationalist effort, according to Brian Kaler, author of the Bible According to Christian Nationalists, exploiting Scripture for political power.
He's mostly swayed by the evangelicals.
Yeah.
He may have a point, but again, I also point out that this author, as is, from what you've stated, seems to be somewhat politically
motivated.
Questionable, is ideologically questionable from what you've stated.
Well, it's like what happened to Ireland when the king died and England took over, and people didn't have no say, no rights, and they had to obey by what England said and their rules and laws and their churches. Okay? And that's what people here in the U.S. want to watch out for.
You could say that about any. You could use the entire free person argument in Britain, in any Western country, especially Britain or Europe. It wasn't that long ago that people didn't own their own properties. Didn't have the right to vote, or didn't have the right to speak. But within the last, 150 odd years, maybe 200 years now, the concept of, dare I say, populist democracy has evolved, and any citizen now has the right to vote.
Now, historian Jamar Tisby, whose books have challenged what he says is enduring Christian complicity in racism, criticizes the event on Facebook, saying you cannot quote the Bible while justifying violence, war, and exclusion. And Pastor Doug Paget, executive director of the progressive group Vote Common Good, echoed the comment in a statement, "If you like reading the Bible, try living it."
Criticizing for using the term racism within this context, but looking at the much more wider political issues that we have at this present moment, that criticism is fairly fair. Again, I will criticise him for using the term racism in this. I believe that he's again pushing a woke, politically correct narrative.
Well, they do use the word progressive, and when you hear the word progressive, you usually know what that means.
No, yeah, but you want to hear something?
He's using a cookie box.
Democrats.
Well, no, progressive is more of a no, it's a global. What do they call it? It's a socialist, social democrat is what they call themselves. They're more of a
cultural Marxism.
No, cultural Marxism isn't.
That's in Canada.
It's more of a.
There's a conservative party called Progressive Conservatives.
Well, you guys are saturated in socialism too, though.
Messed up.
You got to take that into consideration. Like, you got more socialism in Canada than most of the frickin'
socialism.
You mean like the public health? That's socialism.
Everything, man. It's like freaking
socialism in itself is not necessarily a bad thing. It's
coming from a
well,
British
and
person.
something I always say, and Mark, I agree with you. It's not the government. It is the corruption. Communism can work. Democracy can work. Socialism can work.
Communist, huh? Where I can flog you someone?
You're going down the wrong.
Communist is Russia.
It all depends on
Iran is communist.
What limitations society is willing to put on and maintain.
No,
And
communist is where
you can argue politics until the cows come in, and we all know that tomorrow it's going to be different.
Oh yeah, them cows gonna be awful good on hamburger. Cause I tell you what, communist to me is where if you don't obey by what I say, I'm gonna beat you down like a dog. Communist is all that is. Russia, Iran, China. I mean, good grief, if you can run over your people with tanks and have no hesitation about it, run people down with automatic weapons and have no hesitation.
Extreme forms of national socialism as well. Communism to me means doing this on a wider front rather than just on a national front, but doing it in a wider front. So multiple countries, multiple territories.
Well,
Communism is
countries
in
ourselves
fact
that does that.
a better mechanism of control.
I think that's really what it comes down to. Religion is about control more than it is about faith.
Yeah. It's controlling the
You're
population.
absolutely right.
So
To where if you don't obey by what I say, you're going to pay for church and all government. The higher you are and the more power you got, you can do anything you want. You can say it's for God, what you're fighting for is for God.
But using your argument, you could argue that communism and militia are two different.
Militia is one different.
As far as communism ideology is concerned, it is worshipping the state as a religion, as the ultimate religion.
Yeah, when the state runs it.
China has
conservatives don't do that.
in that. As an example, China has multiple religions in it, but they are controlled by the state.
Yeah.
They have very now sort of it's what they can and cannot say as determined by the state.
Yeah.
I
The
have two
dictator.
theories I want to share with you guys really quickly. Roger?
Yeah, I didn't say nothing. You guys are.
The land
Oh,
race, like Roger Hanson. Why don't you
Oh, I was really.
Okay, so I want to share experience. When talking about being controlled by the state, I dated this woman, right? I was a young guy. I was my early 20s, okay? And I was with this older lady. And, you know, she was great. Eric was great. Except for what I call her the triple sixer. Because it was all about God, gold, and government. You couldn't tell her anything about the Bible because she knows better. And she has her own faith. There's nothing in the world she can tell her. And government, she literally believes that the government will never lie to the people. Never lie to the people. She believed that. She was really government never lied to us. And then there's gold, because all she cared about was keeping her money out of the hands of illegals. Yeah, I had to end that relationship. So, just saying, it doesn't matter the government, it can have a profound hold on people who are very weak-minded.
I call that being pussywood. That's what I call that.
Weak-minded, maybe they've been trained into the weak-mind.
No, I mean, seriously, if she was a man, she would be pussywood. Seriously, that's like a female version of being pussywood. It really is. Think about it. If she was a man, you would call her pussywood.
If she was a man, I would.
Yeah, but if you were indoctrinated into that philosophy, you didn't know anything better.
You understand the concept of being pussy-whooped, right, Mark?
Explain that for me.
Pussy-whooped is when a freaking woman tells you something, you're so freaking wrapped up in her, you're willing to listen to anything she says. She'll drag you through hell, dude.
No, it's where you lose your.
You lose your balls, basically.
You've been castrated.
They cut your nuts off.
You don't have that terminology out there in the ghetto UK?
Under the thumb would be most obvious.
What do you guys call it when you cut off the?
Has anybody watched the 1970s, 1980s comedy Last of the Summer Line?
No.
If I haven't seen it, you guys don't do comedy.
But it's all about sort of a community of future people.
Old-mate sheep?
Within that sort of 1950s sort of stereotype.
Mm-hmm.
The only good comedian.
It was all about patriarchy, sort of society or patriarchy sort of town.
Yeah, British comedy. I don't know, man. The only good one you got over there is Jimmy Carr. I don't know the other.
Okay.
No, that's Jimmy too. No, I agree. That's Jimmy too, bro.
The one thing I said at the beginning, though, that's a good deal, though, is like, it is actually a pretty good thing that I think it's the first president I've actually seen who went into an actual event that was supposed to be about reading the Bible. I do think that that's a positive thing, but I think it's being exploited for political reasons.
It may be a positive thing, but again, I can see sort of pitfalls in there.
I mean, that's the only good thing I can see out of it. I know that the reason why Trump is doing that is because of his meme where he appeared as Jesus, and he got it was backlash with the Christian community that supported him. So he had to put this.
But then you have the Christians that actually believe it. There's some Christians who believe that Trump is the next best thing to God or Jesus.
Yeah.
And
Trump
there are
is
those
taking
reasons. Those are the ones that are coming to this events now. Now those are hardcore followers. You can tell those people to go do something. They're going to go and do it.
Okay,
Well,
that's dangerous. One word. I will use one
Remember
word.
on the bus?
Blasphemy.
Hey, Roger. Remember on the bus where they recorded Donald Trump on the bus talking about the women?
Yeah.
Trump has done one thing better than most, better than just about anybody else. That is portray. What he puts out in front of the people, he does at a level that most people understand. He doesn't go over their heads. He doesn't go under their heads. What he does is he runs in the middle of the pack, and he does it better than just about anybody else who stood in that position since I've been alive, and I was born in 1954.
Well, yeah, but he's picking a big old bully in the middle of the circle of all them people and running up to him and knocking him in the throat to see if what
Oh, I agree with you.
let's not mention throat punching.
Why I say that for is that sometimes these countries they do got to get a little bit of an eye opener when your slogan is "Death to America" and you ain't done anything, but you're going and attacking, giving money out to all these other countries for terrorism. You know, after a while, any country is going to go walk up and demonstrate what you're capable and what.
To be honest, I have an issue about that because I think that there's a lot more American money going to terrorists that are coming from the conservatives just as well. Because like I mentioned this on Nancy's show the other night, it just seems odd that like ISIS freaking was getting ready to conquer all of Iraq, went into Lebanon, was at Nineveh destroying artifacts there. And then Trump gets into office, freaking does 3 bombings, and all of a sudden they're demolished. They're no more.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
Again, an organisation, a group, maybe.
Well, everybody knows. Everybody knows that ISIS came out of. Everybody knows ISIS came mostly out of freaking Turkey, and guess what? The neocons have control over Turkey, dude. It just seems odd is all I'm saying that ISIS just vanished after he committed what 3 bombings. The miracle of the mighty Donald Trump.
Doesn't report on me. Doesn't mean.
Whatever, dude. Whatever.
The CIA, right? When we're talking about blank check, talking about territory relations. Well, you know, the CIA trains terrorist cells all around the planet.
It's called Bin Laden.
It becomes convenient for the United States government.
Oh, yeah, but did you hear that about the black base here in the U.S. that was moved over from where you get the boats going through, where the U.S. spent money on building it?
No, I've never.
The canal. Well, it was off to the side of the canal.
Panama Canal.
Before it was given back over to them.
Yeah, the Contras. He's talking about the Contras. Back when they trained Contras down here in the United States and then put them back in Central America.
Well, they had a black school there. Over there.
Black Ops.
Yeah, they were teaching foreign countries how to throw over their government and all that. The fine art of skinning the person, leaving them alive, but skinning them, taking their fingernails out.
A lot of this came from the Cold War era.
No. Not the Cold War.
It was proxy wars fought on behalf of Russia or the Soviet Union.
No, this was way before that.
Well,
Congress.
And the argument was that even we would have Soviet-style communism throughout the world, or we would have Western style democracy throughout the world.
Yeah, but what I'm just referring to, if our government's capable of teaching this stuff to other countries,
here in the United States is what he's talking about too. Like they weren't doing it on foreign soil. They were bringing them here to the United States and doing it.
Before they did it here in the U.S., they were over there. They had a school built. They did of the arts of torture.
Robert.
And no, this was on the news. The guy.
Robert, we know. We've already come. That you're talking about the Contras with the Iran Contra stuff. That's back during the Cold War, like he was talking about.
Yeah, but they were in over 50 countries. They taught 50 other countries of doing this, of bombing, terrorism.
Okay, let's say the Soviet style communists managed to overtake the majority of those countries, including Latin America countries. Let's say through Mexico. You could all be the US. You would go down the water path there. There could be a possibility that the US would now be a communist state. So would Britain. So would the majority of the Western world.
Yeah, but my point of it
Most
is.
of the world.
Yeah, but my point of it is, I wouldn't want my own country to turn around and turn into that on me. Like anyone, you wouldn't want your own country to turn and to attack you.
Well, I don't know how that would relate to what you were just talking about, but I mean that makes absolutely no sense. How does that fit into what you just were talking about? Like they're training people to be terrorists in their country, and then you're saying they're going to turn it against us and.
Well, if they can teach other people to do all that.
Well, that they are. That's the thing, man. And like a lot of people don't. Like Jade Helm. You know what Jade Helm was all about, don't you? Jade Helm was teaching freaking our military how to freaking to freaking tame riots and how to deal with people in our own country. That's what you've heard of Jade Helm, haven't you?
I haven't.
Jade Helm was actually.
They have several things like that, like the abandoned Walmarts and all that kind of stuff. Where they bring drills.
I've heard the abandoned Walmarts, but Jade Helm was an actual military operation that took place in the Southwest states, and they were being trained how to freaking handle insurrection.
Well, and so they also told us that is due to
urban warfare,
and no longer fighting the desert, like going to do urban warfare. So a general blanket.
Yeah, that's kind of fishy that they did it in 6 states. In the United States, it was an actual military operation that took place where they were practicing how to how to attack their own citizens.
I mean, because when I trained, when I was in the Army, I trained to basically do kick doors. I was in a desert environment. We had several different huts, and you had to learn the hand signals. You had to be able to back the guy up in front of you. The guy behind you has to watch your back as you go in and invade someone's home.
Well, imagine helicopters flying over frickin' Texas in the middle of the city in unmarked helicopters, and that's what took place, man.
Well, like with the microwave Jeeps.
Well, that's another thing too. They come out with. They've got these Jeeps now that have sonic waves that for riot control.
Yeah, and they can fry groups of people all at one time. A solid beam of magnet, like a magnet, out of the microwave.
Well, they just used something similar to that in Venezuela when they attacked Venezuela.
Well, okay, so you have the subsonic nauseator. That's the south one, and then you have the microwave one, which is the active area of the house.
We got that one where it makes a silent wave. It makes you want to stick your fingers in your ears because your heads are hurting from the sound.
Yeah. Hell, the Russians have on their battleships right now. They have these laser weapons that when they point at you, you instantly vomit and pass out.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not so sure about that. I'm sure there are.
I've seen the demonstrations in the videos.
Yeah, but they are guidance.
Iraq had a big Air Force carrier full of nothing but drones from Russia.
Yeah.
Okay, so before we get any farther into that, let's get on to the next topic before we go any farther on that, because I think we've pretty much exhausted the whole thing about the freaking first one. We've gone all the way into freaking weapons of exotic freaking destruction, I guess you can say. But we're trying to keep it serious on this one, so let me move on to the next one, because this one's actually interesting. Have you guys heard about the church trial that is going on with the ESNA Archbishop Steve Wood?
No, I've not heard anything about that.
Dan, you're more into religion. Have you heard about it?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
Archbishop who?
Archbishop Steve Wood.
What is it a little bit about?
RNS. Okay, first of all, this comes from Religion News Services. Now, Woods has filed a motion to dismiss the case, and the church court will hear arguments on that motion in May. And this has to do with him being charged with well, let me go ahead and just read it. Archbishop Steve Woods, who leads the Evangelical Church in North America, will face a church trial beginning on July the 20th, according to an announcement from the court Tuesday, April 21st.
He's an Anglican archbishop.
Right. Now, he's been accused of sexual harassment, bullying, and plagiarism, and faces 3 church charges. Alleged.
What's a church? Sorry, what's a church charge?
That's interesting. I guess they're charges that are made within the church.
Sexual abuse charges.
I mean, if that is a charge, then
I don't know if it's church converted, but it's a.
I guess he asked one of the other members how big is their.
This sounds similar to the sheer law arguments in Britain of this part of the close religious-based courts. Courts in effect.
He's the head of the Anglican Church in the United States.
In North America.
In North America.
Where's that at?
I
Where's North America, right?
It's Canada, United States.
Like one of those things where it's like, oh, we'll do our own internal investigation and we will punish the guy.
That's what it sounds like.
Oh, well, we know that never works.
Nope.
You're
Not
echoing
corporation,
bad,
not
dude.
government, not coalition.
It's like I can barely understand what you're saying. You're echoing.
Mute again. Well, why don't you talk? The other one mute. So.
But on your point, it's much like a sort of religious styled cancel course, right?
Well, no, it's a church. It's a church charges.
Is it a church trial or
It's well, I mean, you don't think that they should have the right to take care of their own problems?
No.
Okay, you know what? If I were part of the Black Panthers, and I go and shoot a bunch of white people, and then I get arrested, that's like the Black Panthers bailing me out and saying, no, we're gonna investigate and we're gonna sorry. So you have to be accountable. There's no
if there's a civil lawsuit against him, I'm pretty sure it'll be dealt separately. But this is a church proceeding.
So it doesn't mean anything. Any internal investigation, when corporations mess up, they say, we'll just save the government time and money. We'll do an internal investigation. That never works because, how many priests have been sent to other parishes after allegations?
That's what I was
You've got to
trying
look
to
out for
about.
your own people if you're not going to come to any kind of conclusion that is any kind of real justice. It's going to be a lot of cover-up so they save face and keep the church name as clean as they can. There's not going to be justice.
I mean, we've both seen end user license agreements and terms of service agreements that states something on the line of you do not have the right to take this to court. All proceedings will be done within an internal arbitration process. Right. It's the same sort of thing. If there's no, it will be for these internal arbitrators to decide on the law. National state's law.
I got one for you.
No, I mean, this. First of all, this is in the Anglican Church, so I have no idea what their organizational structure is about.
And allegations of rape and sexual misconduct is all statement that they should be looked
legal. It should be a legal issue with the government.
My point is, this is an internal church investigation that doesn't preclude the civil authority doing their own thing, right? So it's the one doesn't include the other. So
so why should there be a internal investigation? Why shouldn't it just be handed over to the civil law enforcement?
maybe I'm okay with both bodies investigating, internal and external. If there's any discrepancies for an investigation.
Let's let Roger read the story. So I would guess we don't know what the heck the story is about.
That right there is actually
to conclusion here without even knowing the full.
That right there is actually a pretty hot topic. So don't forget about that when you guys when I'm done reading this, because I think you guys hit on something big there. But I'm gonna finish reading like Tam asked, and but that actually is a good talking point. Just to let you know, because that is interesting. So let me figure out where the hell I left off before you people freaking interrupted me. So
I think that's my fault again.
Okay, so he's been accused of sexual harassment, bullying, plagiarism, and faces 3 church charges. There it was. Alleged violations of ordination vows. Conduct giving cause for scandal or offense in sexual immorality. The Tuesday announcement also revealed that Wood filed a motion to dismiss the case. The court will hear arguments on the motion beginning on May the 7th. We are grateful to the court for its diligent work in this matter, said the retired Reverend Julian Dobbs, who serves as Dean of the province, in the statement. I ask that our clergy and lay members join me in an earnest prayer that God, in His wisdom and providence, would bring a just and righteous resolution to His church. No, that His church would be preserved in truth and unity, and that all parties involved would know His grace. Now, Wood was inhibited or temporarily suspended from his ministry in mid-November, days after more than 140 clergy in the denomination signed an open letter calling for his inhibition. Wood previously announced he was taking a paid voluntary leave of absence on November the 3rd, after a series of reports in the Washington Post in which a former church employee and another woman accused Wood of unwelcome sexual advances. A bishop in South Carolina, Wood was elected in 2024 to lead the ACNA, a small denomination that began in 2009 as a breakaway group of congregations that objected to Episcopal Church and Evangelical Church of Canada's acceptance of openly LGBTQ plus clergy in marriage for same-sex couples. Now, the Washington Post in October 23 report, or the Washington Post on October the 23rd report broke allegations from Claire Buxton, a former children's ministry director who served with Woods at St. Andrews in Mount Pleasant, South Carolina, prior to his election as Archbishop. Buxton alleged to the Post that Wood gave her more than $3,000 for church funds and in April of 2024 attempted to kiss her in his office. A second woman who identified herself only as Jane Doe claimed Wood pressured her into situations she was uncomfortable with and to drink alcohol with him. It's unclear when these alleged incidences took place. Woods also faces allegations from several priests of bullying and plagiarism. He has denied all but the most recent allegations of sexual harassment from the unnamed woman, which he declined to comment on and submitted to the church process for vetting the claims. So
what you just read doesn't really bring any more to this story that they've already mentioned. The rest of what you just read there is mainly fluff.
it's fluff, huh?
Yeah. And on top of that can blow up in people's faces too.
Bad management.
He can blow up people's faces.
It's called bad management.
Well, it's just not bad storytelling too.
Just to get some background, guys.
He is so horrible.
The North American Anglican Church is a breakaway from the American Episcopal Church, which is the branch of the Anglican Church in the United States formed in the 1700s. Okay, the American Anglican Church was called the Episcopal Church. It was formed in the 1789, right? And then in 2000, the North American Anglican Church is fairly new. They broke away from the Episcopal Church in 2003 or so, and they formed their own church.
It was that was during the time when the Pope got mad because of over that. It was something about the Pope during that whole time about all that was going on, and he made his words about that.
Now, are you talking about in the 1700s?
No, that's between Rome and England. That was a long time ago.
Yeah, that was a long time.
This is in the United States.
No, yeah, it was, but they were talking about women and men, about.
No, it was. You're thinking of when what's his name, King Henry VIII, where he wanted to divorce his wife.
Years ago.
He wanted to divorce his wife. Is that what you're talking about?
That's
they were talking about.
That's in England.
Yeah, I know. It's always them bastards.
Well,
okay, but so now back to the North American Anglican Church. This Archbishop is like the top guy.
Yeah.
Right? He's like the Pope in the North American Anglican Church.
Technically, as he's an Anglican, isn't he still governed by British woman?
That's what I was saying about high people.
No. I mean, I think the American Episcopal Church, which was a branch from the Anglican, is not governed by the British monarch. So the breakaway branch is no way.
Well, I don't think they would tolerate that. Now, the only country I think actually is ruled by the royal family still is the ones in Ireland. And I think they're getting tired of frickin' their shit too, because they started throwing propaganda back in the day about frickin' Satan worshippers and shit, frickin' in the orphanages. And me and Mark covered that in the first year of Roger's real-time talk show. Like, they started coming out with all these crazy-ass stories, like satanic cults that were frickin' molesting children and shit.
Right, so back to Roger's story. So 2 women filed complaints against this Archbishop about misconduct, right? And he filed for dismissal because things they're like, I don't know, maybe he thinks they're falsely accusing him.
Well, he had a problem with the LGBTQ movement because the angelics over in Canada are allowing homosexuals to be priests and ministers.
The Pope did too have that same words about that, Rog.
And they can openly admit in church that they're gay and not be criticized for it.
But he's retired though. He's no longer the Archbishop of North American Anglican.
Does he have any connection to Trump or Epstein?
Hey, Rod, that's what the Pope was having the same words about that too, before he passed away.
Mm-hmm. Now, was the Pope actually having the same kind of thoughts before he passed away?
It was on the news about that.
About the homosexuals. Like homosexuals in the church and stuff?
About being Pope, the preacher, and all that.
Did he? What, the last one that passed away?
Well, we came out with this rule about blessing of the same-sex union.
Yeah.
All that stuff, but it was not what the public press made it out to be.
Well,
but it's like, it's blessing in the sense of, even though you're doing wrong thing, God still loves you and wait for you to come back, kind of thing. But it's like at the end of every mass in the church, the priest blessed the whole congregation.
Yeah.
Right? And those include the bad people as well as good people stuff.
Well, me personally, I don't get why, there's the need to belong to such entities, such churches. I mean, and for homosexual couples to try to be accepted in a Christian church. That'd be like me going to the KKK and demanding equal rights within their ranks.
Well, what's wrong with that?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. If you're not going to follow the rules of the church, then what's the point of staying, right?
Mm-hmm.
What is the point? Yeah.
I mean, but then on the other hand, as a faithful member of the church, none of us is perfect. So we're all flawed in some way. So that doesn't mean that we're gonna stay away from the church. I mean, so there's a very famous Catholic saying that says that the church is a hospital for sinners, for the sick. It's not the court of the saints or whatever, something like that, right? So people come there to be healed. Not people don't go there because they're already perfect and they don't need any saving. So there's that.
Well,
Anyway.
right.
I agree. It's not the place for those who are holier than thou to be casting judgment. They're supposed to be helping and healing and all that stuff. I agree.
Yeah.
I have a little bit of emergency here, guys. I gotta excuse myself for a few minutes.
So,
All right.
my question to you, Tan, is this: do you think that what he's pushing is harsher than what the Pope came up with before he passed away, or you think he's being?
The Pope.
No,
it was
the evangelical guy, the Wood.
the evangelical guy. Well, I mean, he's an Anglican, right? So Anglicans are more relaxed than the Catholics in terms of their acceptance of the gays and the LGBT. They're more lenient of saying that it's okay, you're accepted. You know, so there are members of the Anglican clergy who are gay, aren't they?
Yeah. Well, Mark ran away. He got mad at us because we were criticizing like gay people.
Did he drop? Oh man.
He
Should we wait for him to come back? But anyway, but I think one of the one before I forget, when we read about this story about this Archbishop of the American Anglican, in the Catholic Church, there was this very widely publicized case about a very high-ranking Cardinal George Pell of Australia, who was, I don't know if you've heard about that case, but he was accused of abusing an altar boy, and he was prosecuted in the civil court, and he was convicted, and he spent like a year or 2 or 3 years in prison because of it. And then after that, they resurrected his case, and Cardinal Pell appealed. They went to the appeal court, and the Australian High Court overthrew the conviction.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but it was still done within the criminal court system.
Correct.
So yeah, you have the right to raise
who was in
there's still for the authorities to decide on content.
But during that time, who was in charge during that time, running the court?
He was charged and he was prosecuted and he was found guilty, hence the reason for the appeal.
Well, they're talking about it was actually a civil.
It was a civil court case.
Okay, but what I mean is,
The criminal, yeah.
same people from the first time to the second time?
It was.
No, I'm not sure.